Alright, now this one I've been wanting to do for a while is do a franchise review video for Friday the 13th. Now, I'm not going to review every single one of them. I've sort of already done that. This is just, I wanted this to be sort of a recap of some of the better moments of the franchise, some of the ones that I like better than some of the others, my excitement for it, the collection I have for it so far. So I'll show you guys. So, of course, for the first one, the original, I have it in 4K. Now, I know there are some of these in 4K. I think Friday the 13th Part 2 is on 4K as well. And then from Arrow Video, we have the remake from 2009. You have Jason X and Jason Goes to Hell. Those are on 4K as well. I do not own all of them, but I do have this one. And then on the back here, it gives you a little bit more insight into it. So this is the copy I have for Friday the 13th, the first and original. Now, I also want to show you guys, I have the Scream Factory box set that comes with all of them. So I've been showing you guys this. If you've seen my reviews for some of these movies individually, I've sort of showcased this every time, but I just thought it was really cool. So here's the cover art on this one. So if you can sort of tell, which I know I have this annoying glare, pretty much every version or look or design from Jason is represented somewhere here on this box. So there's so much. And then of course on the top you got the mask itself, which I think is pretty cool. So I'll show you guys each of the movies. So I'll sort of take this out. So here is for the first one. These are all Blu-ray and they all have these clear cases, which I think are pretty neat. So here is the case for the first one. And then show you guys the case for part 2. This is one of the things I love best about these kinds of sets, is just looking at the cover art. So ones like this, it's sort of plain. So some of these are more interesting than others as far as the cover art is concerned, I would say. So now we have Friday the 13th Part 3 3D. This was kind of fun. I thought it definitely had its hokey moments, being that 3D horror movie, but it was kind of fun. I didn't watch it in 3D, of course, but I thought there was some fun to be had in this one. And then this one, I remember just struggling with it, and I can't really explain why. It was just, I don't know. I found this one less interesting than the others, in my opinion. So we have this one, which I do think the cover art for this one is pretty neat, though. And then we have Part 5, A New Beginning, which I think is just ironic with the titles for Part 4, Final Chapter, Part 5, New Beginning. It's just sort of right off the bat, just starting over again. So this one I think is pretty cool, at least the cover art anyway. You got a little bit on the back there. So I had fun with this franchise. I think there's a reason that they made so many of these. I haven't personally heard a ton of people sort of compare all of them together, but I know Jason Voorhees is pretty much one of the most iconic horror villains. And after seeing all of these movies, I can see why. Because despite some of the less interesting entries in this franchise, the vibe, the tone is usually, for the most part, the same. He comes back to life, usually in some either supernatural or unnatural way or form, and he just wreaks havoc on pretty much the same stomping grounds for a majority of these entries. And so there's familiarity going from sequel to sequel, which is something that I think some franchises, when they have a sequel somewhere in the franchise that goes so far off the path from where the originals had started, that's where I think franchises like that lose the fans. So I think Friday the 13th, of course, I didn't watch these when they had originally come out. I just watched them over the past course of a couple of years, I guess. I've grown very fond of these movies as a franchise as a whole, because I'm sort of seeing them back to back. I obviously didn't have to wait very long to watch the next one. It was just whenever I had decided to. So to see them all back to back, it's sort of to see that continuation and the familiarity and the continuity continue throughout the whole thing. I just thought it was very interesting throughout. And then so now we have part 6, which I actually found pretty interesting. It felt a little plot armory in the beginning, but I actually had really fun with this. I thought it was a little bit more violent. I thought the kills were a little bit better. I just personally enjoyed this one more than I think some of the earlier entries. I love the first one, the second, probably even the third, but I think over the 4 and 5 at least, this one was one of my favorites. So I just had a lot of fun with it. So the cover art for this one I think is pretty neat as well. And then now you have part 7, New Blood. So this one's cool. The cover art, sort of the 2 different faces there. This one, I believe, is the one where they kind of go into a little bit more supernatural territory than some of the earlier entries. But I think at this point, when you're 7 movies in, I think a franchise is allowed to sort of start making up their own rules at this point if you have fans still seeing the new ones. So I think it was interesting. Now we have, if I can get it out, here we go. Jason Takes Manhattan. So this one's pretty cool. I actually did enjoy this one. I think this one, I thought I was duped at first because it was on a boat for so long, but then they do end up in Manhattan for, I guess, a majority of the second half. So actually I had fun with this. Plus the cover art's really cool. Obviously this is one of the newer ones, so it's visually starting to look a little bit better compared to the other ones just because of the time with the technology of it being made. But that doesn't discredit, I think, any of the storylines or the writing for them. It's just, when it looks better visually, I think it's just more, I think, easier, simpler to absorb. But I had fun with this. I thought this one's fun. Now we have Jason Goes to Hell. So this one was interesting. I definitely didn't find this one as interesting as some of the others, but there was some fun with it. So it was definitely a fun watch. I just don't know how to rank this one compared to the others, because there are some others that I enjoyed much more than this, but it was still a lot of fun. Plus the cover art is pretty cool as well. Jason X, I actually did have fun with that. It was one of these weird things where just Jason in space, I mean, I thought it was ridiculous. The concept anyway, the opening was kind of throwing me off, and then I think I was trying to fight it. I was trying to fight enjoying it for a while, and eventually once I allowed myself to enjoy it for what it is, I had a lot more fun with it. I mean, it's ridiculous, for sure, but I think it's entertaining ridiculousness, and that's what makes it great. So yeah, I thought this one was pretty cool. I think Jason X is one of my favorites of this franchise. And this one is definitely one of my favorites, Freddy vs. Jason. So I haven't seen all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I've seen the first one, so I'm sure if I see more of them, I probably would have understood the storyline a lot better. But I was still able to absorb what was happening in this one. I think the way they were pitted against each other, or the way they teamed up for a while too, I thought both storylines were handled very well. It was entertaining, it was cool, it felt like a boss fight kind of moment. Even the build-up was very suspenseful, it was very intriguing and interesting, the way they're both kind of trying to use each other. I mean, as far as enjoying the movie, as far as the action and the intensity, I think this one kept my interest more than the rest of them, just based off of everything this movie had going for it, everything it was building up toward. It just held my attention better, I think. It didn't necessarily mean I like it the best, but it definitely held my attention the best. So this one was a lot of fun. And so now we have the last one, which I did not watch this copy of. We have the one for 2008, 2009, I believe. Is one of those two. It's 2009. We have Friday the 13th of 2009. I think this is a cool cover art. I can't recall if this is the same cover art for the Blu-ray or not. I don't know. But as a Supernatural fan, obviously for Jared Padalecki being in this one, it was interesting to me from the start. And then we also have this one. So I didn't watch this. This is bonus material. I'm not a bonus material kind of guy typically, but I think it's really awesome that the set comes with this. Just something extra that it has. And we also have this booklet that sort of has all sorts of stuff from the first one, and it's got a little bit of tidbit of information on pretty much all of them. So it's pretty cool. The set comes with this. So for the 2009 one, I'm trying to get this booklet back in here. I actually have this copy. I have the Arrow Video copy for it, which this one is, of course, in 4K. So I have the box set, and then I have these two on 4K. So this is my Friday the 13th set, and I've seen every single one of them now. So I'm very excited to sort of pick another franchise. I still need to see the rest of the Halloween movies. I want to go back and see the Nightmare on Elm Street movies now. So I'm not really sure where I'm going next as far as which one I'm selecting. But for this franchise, this was a lot of fun. It took a couple years to get through them all, but I'm so glad I did because this is one of my favorite franchises. And I'm so glad I have these pieces in my collection. So thanks for watching. I absolutely love this franchise. Jason Voorhees is so many people's favorite horror icon. I would say he's one of my favorites now as well. And I think being able to say I've seen them all is just, as a completionist, it's just very cool. Because it was like I accomplished something, you know. So that's it. All right, thanks.